Riley McCarron, let's go back to growing up in Dubuque. I know there's a lot of Hawkeye fans there. I don't know how many Cyclone fans are there, but what side of the Cy-Hawk rivalry are you on as a kid?
I was always a Hawk fan, through and through. There's no debate there. I got down to, I want to say Kinnick first time, maybe, early on in grade school. And then, my older brother had actually been recruited a little bit. So, got to go down there as a young kid on those junior day visits, back when they first started doing those. And, ever since then, it was easy, to side with the Hawks.
Or who recruited you from Iowa?
Reese Morgan,
Was it Reese? He, of
go. Yep.
course,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Fun story. So Kirk had some like post-camp availability just yesterday, so we were down there. And Reese, because he's still
Oh,
retired and
yeah.
around the program as much as possible,
Oh,
he
yeah.
rode his bike into the facility and proceeded to
Still
stop
doing it.
shake every media member's hand if he knew us or not. And it was like, that's
Yeah.
the most
He's
Reese
he's
Morgan.
yeah, he's been a class act through and through. And yeah, just a phenomenal guy, and great to get to know him through my time there. And yeah, I think he and LeVar Woods are, probably two of the guys that, handled all the walk-on recruiting for all the kids in Iowa, man.
For sure. Yeah.
That's a credit to those guys.
Yeah. And they keep building it.
Absolutely.
Were you recruited by Iowa State at all too?
You know what? It's funny you say that. Not a ton. I went to one game on a visit there and went to one football camp in my entire high school career, and it was just a little showcase down in Ames. And my senior year, it just kind of went quiet after that. So I guess a little bit, but not much, to be honest with you.
Did they just get the hint that you were a Hawkeye?
It's funny because at that time I wasn't getting heavily recruited by anybody. It was a lot of D2, D3 schools, one double A. And so I was kind of just hoping to catch on with, yeah, obviously Iowa, but, a big D1 program. And so at that point, I didn't really have any prospects.
Oh, well, it worked out well. And, in 13, I know you had a couple grabs, played a little bit. 14, I know you were banged up first half of the season, and then I think the back half of the second half of the season. What was your thought? What were the plans internally for you and your role with the team going into 15? Because you were a special teamer, got some wide receiver run too, but what was the expectation? I'm sure you were just happy to maybe be healthy
Yeah.
coming out of camp.
Yeah, you know what? I think it just took a big leap from, that 2014 to 2015 year, individually, and then, obviously as a team, the leap we took. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just wanted to be out on the field. It didn't matter whether it was special teams or offense. I mean, we had such a great group of guys. I mean, on and off the field, just a bunch of hardworking guys. I mean, you look at the draft class of the 2015 class and 2016. I mean, we didn't really have, top draft picks, but we had a lot of good players and a lot of guys that were willing to put the team for themselves. And so I just wanted to be a part of that. And I started playing, getting on special teams, whether it be punt return, did some kick return stuff, and was just happy to be out there. And then, had a decent camp and started to get some time at receiver and just do whatever I needed, whether it was blocking, catching the ball, whatever. But just happy to be on the field. I truly enjoyed my time with special teams. Coach Wallace, Coach LeVar Woods. I mean, those guys did a phenomenal job, and was just happy to be a part of it. And it just takes me back to when I was thinking about going to Iowa. The goal was just get on the field. Anything I can do to help the team and be a part of be a contribution and whatnot. So that was really the mindset, honestly, going into that camp. And a lot of maturity going into my senior year of school. Redshirt junior football, but yeah, just a credit to the coaches, the players, and we've had just such a great group of guys from top to bottom.
For sure. And I mean, hey, talk about kids from Dubuque playing special teams. That was kind of a Jamie Murphy-esque hit, I think, early in that Cyhawk game. I mean, talk about making an impact on special teams. Just to start that game like that and carving out that role, that had to be. I mean, there's nothing like a punt return hit like that, especially on the road, I imagine.
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, what a beautiful punt. But yeah, just to make an impact early on in the game, especially, tons of fun, especially as a kid from Iowa. But yeah, I was just happy to be out there, man. Honestly.
Cool. Growing up a Hawkeye fan, and this was such a big storyline that week, you know. talk about inspiration from, smaller town Iowa and what Tyler Sash did as a Hawkeye coming out of Oski. Do you remember just the mood that week going in and the decision? Do you remember how the decision came about to put the nines on the side of the helmet for that game? Because I mean, aside from Coach Fry, I can't really remember like an individual sticker or something on the helmet to honor somebody. But that, I mean, that was
Yeah, I
such a big
don't.
part of that week.
Yeah, I don't remember, the specific details that went into it, but I do remember, there was a team meeting and, Coach Ferentz just saying, hey, we're going to honor Tyler and put the nine on the helmets. And obviously everybody was for it. And, what a great way to honor, his legacy. And, that was kind of it was a sad week. And, being from Iowa and growing up watching the Hawks, I mean, going down to the games, especially maybe it was middle school, high school for me, but, Sash was such a, big contributor and face of that team, especially that defense. So it was, a sad week, but, such an honor to represent him. And it was pretty cool. I remember Steve Staggs wore 83 and he was, a couple years older than me. I think he was a senior when I was a freshman. And when he had left, I'd been given his number and he had just shot me a text after the game, just said, it was pretty neat to see 83 out there and make some play
Yeah, I think I think his Twitter picture is still him
with
and Sash
Sash.
too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that felt, I mean, it was really cool to see.
sure.
It's just a great way to honor him.
Yeah. What's it like playing in Jack Trice as a Hawkeye? I mean, you've been in, I think, every major Big Ten stadium at some point or
Mhm.
another throughout your career, but like it's the Cyhawk, it's Ames. It was it dialed up a little different?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's always a little bit extra going into that game. Obviously, a lot more black and gold in that stadium, for that game, probably than any other game that season, or for that matter, for them on their schedule. But it's always amped up. It's early in the season, so it's always a fun time. But what a great atmosphere, just early on in the season. For some of those non-conference games, you don't always get that type of atmosphere, especially when it's coming down to the wire like that. Everything gets amped up and yeah, sometimes a little too amped up, us players. So it can be a little tricky as well, but it's what you dream about when you want to play college football.
For sure. This Cyhawk game in 2015 is always the CJ Beathard game for me. The switch,
Absolutely.
makes the start against Pitt the year before. I think, that was long flowing hair CJ. He hadn't cut that off yet.
Yep.
But, when did you guys figure out in camp, or were there moments where you're like, oh, like, he had shown himself in 13
Yeah.
a little bit as Jake was starting, but like, okay, yeah, he might have the chance to do something special.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think it was early on. Freshman year, he came in. He was this tall, skinny kid from Tennessee, but man, could he throw the football? It's like he wasn't scared to take chances. He was throwing the ball, down the field, putting it on a line, wherever it needed to be. I mean, he could clearly had a talent for throwing the ball, but I think one of the most underrated things about him, he may not have looked the part to be the most athletic guy out there, but he was a sneaky freak athlete. Like he could run. So when you saw him get loose in that Iowa State game, that wasn't anything we hadn't seen before. And he's a competitor, man. Whether it be sprints or anything, he wanted to compete. So I don't think that was a surprise to any of us. But man, he was just a gamer.
Uh, that stretch he had out of the end zone to avoid the sack before that, like that's still to me, like
Yep,
that's the athleticism right there. I'm like, yeah, he can run a little bit, but like just the wherewithal
absolutely.
to get it right out there is wild. Um,
Yeah,
do you remember I think you had one other target in that game. Do you remember your other target from CJ?
yeah. I could have used some Velcro on my chest for that one.
I
Just
didn't
an
want to say
absolute rocket. Yeah. So yeah, that was it was like, yeah, never get too high, never get too low. It was like the punt, making the tackle on the punt, is the high, and then obviously that's low, and it's just like it's just one of those things you just never want to let the team down. And that was the biggest thing. So yeah, that was not great.
Well, then, we put it away, out of sight, out of mind. 2.5 minutes left, 17 all. Anybody who's familiar with Hawkeye football is thinking the same formula. All right, Jordan or LaShawn's going to carry this a couple times. Kaner's going to come out and do Marshall King things.
Yep.
Do you remember what Greg's exact play call was? And did you guys anticipate we're going to go for the throat here? Or what was the reaction in the huddle?
You know what? Honestly, it was just so nonchalant in the huddles, like another play call. But we had been setting that play up. We had practiced it. We had been running the ball pretty successfully that game up until that point. And I think it was just one of those things where it was timing wise, set up perfect. I think everybody in the stands, everybody watching the game, like you said, thought we were just going to run the ball out, including their defense. And, credit to Greg Davis and then obviously CJ threw, arguably, a perfect pass. Couldn't have thrown it any better. And so made my job a lot easier. But yeah, it wasn't anything crazy. I just remember, breaking the huddle. I'm like, oh shit, that's coming to me.
There's one wide receiver out there.
Yeah. So no, it was incredible play. I mean, CJ, hands down, what a dime and just a great play call.
Do you remember what the actual like nomenclature of the call was? What the language
I
was?
do not. It is
Yeah.
10 years. That'll escape you. Yeah.
I wondered about that. But when you do break the huddle and you're thinking all that stuff, there's two tight ends, there's two backs. I mean, it's set up to be a running play. As you're going out to that outside, is it just you're focused on the route itself, or are there 100 things
Honestly,
going through your head?
100%. Yeah, more than anything, just focused on the route and being in a double move. I'm like, okay, I just got to do my job to sell this first route to get him to bite. And then after that, everything happens so fast. I mean, it's like split second, but as soon as I ran that first route and broke, and I look back and I see CJ, I'm like, okay, here it is. And I mean, again, just a perfect pass.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Gus said he put it in a shoebox. Like, yeah,
yeah. I mean,
that's right
spot on. He couldn't have put it any better than that.
for sure. I came up with three kind of iconic touchdowns for you in your career. It's that one. You had the punt return. I think that was against Illinois, maybe 55-yarder against
Yep.
Illinois. And then maybe the first instance in college football history of an emoji making an appearance in a celebration, the senior day shrug against Nebraska. Is any one of those a bigger favorite than the other?
Um, it's all the touchdowns are cool. That it certainly feels good, especially as a senior, knowing that your time's limited. But I don't know. You work so hard, especially a lot of the guys that may not have seen a lot of playing time early on in their career and stuck with the programs. Stayed the course. So I think more than anything, it's always rewarding when something pays off that you stick with and you continue to put the work in. And so no, all of them are great, but the one on senior day meant a lot. Obviously, anytime you get to cover 70 yards. Is always a great feeling in football. It doesn't happen very often, at least not in my case. But then again, it's just, yeah, CJ threw a great pass. We worked on that play all week. Our offensive line, we had done such a great job running the football. We knew they were gonna, suck up to the run and again, it just worked out to perfection. Great call by Greg Davis. And yeah, I mean, that was just a fun one. That game was incredible. Just a great way to go out as a senior in Kinnick.
For sure. Greg Davis is a play caller. I was talking to Vandy a year or two ago about something else and just talked about maybe freedom's not the right word, but like it was more about for you guys running routes, just like getting space, and especially when you got a quarterback like CJ, like he'll figure it out. Just what was it like playing for him, especially when he, came into Iowa. There was all the stuff about. I mean, this is Vince Young's OC. Like this guy's coming out of
Yeah.
Austin. Like this is cool. What was it like just playing for him?
I mean, it was incredible. I mean, what he brought to the passing game and just and like you said, having those Texas teams that he came from. I mean, those guys were the top of college football for several years while he was down there. Just an incredible football mind, great guy. Just being able to learn from him and soak his knowledge. I mean, same with Bobby Kennedy, who also came with him from that Texas staff. And, when they would talk about those Texas receivers, the Shipleys of the world, the guys that we were watching when we were growing up, it's like, you hear in their daily routines and hear what they would do. You're like, okay, this makes sense. This checks out. But no, phenomenal play for those guys. I mean, really opened the mind of, what you're looking at out there as a receiver, whether, the defense, and then just opening up the pass game and then obviously letting CJ just use his arm to his strength. And so, yeah, it made things fun for us as receivers. That's for sure.
For sure. And talking about great coaches, you get to play for Belichick. Is the ring
Yeah.
nearby? Do you have your Super Bowl ring nearby?
I do have it. I do not have it on me. I do. That's funny. It's like for whatever reason, it's the first question everyone asks is
Sure,
where
yeah.
is it? Where is it? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, incredible to play for him. I mean, honestly, a lot of, similarities coaching style, Kirk Ferentz. I mean, just everything is for a reason. We don't do anything, that doesn't, pay dividends in the end. Everyone's strict regimen. But both coaches, they're different in their own ways, but at the end of the day, they're both, very disciplined in their approach to the game and why they do things. And I think it just, you don't need to go very far to understand, their success and why it happens.
For sure. How was camp in 18 with Brady?
It was incredible. It's a cutthroat camp up there. You think you get to the NFL and guys think, you just put on shorts and t-shirts and go out and run routes. I mean, no, we're still full pads. We're still tackling full contact, doing drills that we were doing at Iowa, or drills that we were even doing in high school. People think that, those are long gone in the NFL, but that was not the case up there. Running the hill after practice. Tons of work, but I mean, it's just incredible to see firsthand, the work ethic and just the talent. And then, those guys going out day in and day out and the work they put in. It was early on to me that I realized that, why they had won the way they had won. It
Yeah,
was, there's no secret there. It was tons of work, a lot of great people, great players, great coaches, and just guys that were willing to put in the work no matter, how much success they had reached in the past.
for sure. And before that, you were in Houston. I think Welker, was he your position coach? I know he was at least an analyst or an assistant down there, right?
Yeah, he's pretty much the reason I went down there. He was the assistant receivers coach at the time, and I after pro day I didn't I had a couple of teams reach out, but nothing crazy. And he said, hey, I would love to work with you, and so if you're still around after the draft, we'd love to sign you. And that ended up being the case. And obviously everyone knows his story and whatnot. And I grew up watching him, and obviously there weren't many guys in the NFL at his stature achieving that kind of success. So, I mean, his knowledge of the game from a mental standpoint, this guy, I mean, he was just a workhorse and cut from that same cloth as all the other New England guys that were up there for so long. So incredible to work with him and
For
spend some
sure.
time down there, even though it was short. But yeah, it was first class all the way.
That's awesome, man. And now you've been in Chicago for a while. What's Riley McCarron up to in 2025?
Man, I'm in the corporate world, just like everybody else these days. Yeah, in the commercial real estate world.
That's gonna
Yeah,
be fun in
working.
Chicago, man.
Yeah, it is. It's good. A lot of competitiveness, just like it's different than football, but yeah, it's motivating. Competitive, so it pays the bills, gets the job done.
There you go. Do you get back to Waller at all? I mean, defending state champs, man. That's gonna be so cool to see.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I was actually at the state championship last year. My nephew was on the team, state championship team. He's going to be
Nice.
coming back this year for his senior year. So it's funny you say that. I'm going to the West Dubuque Waller game next week.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah, so it's always good to get back. See, it's crazy. It's I feel like it's only been a couple years since I graduated, but it's like you're reminded when you go back how long it's been. But yeah, try to get back to a game a year, and so it's always good to see those guys, and obviously having a lot more success than we did when we were there.
Hey, foundation's got to be laid. That's
Yeah,
has to
that's
happen.
right. That's right.
Biggest thing that you continue to take with you from Iowa and Ferentz and that coaching staff that helps you out in life now.
Oh man, that's a tough one. I mean, I just go right back to the work ethic, day in, day out, just doing the little things. It's no secret to whether it's work, anything in life, just daily routine, good habits, lead to good results. Now that's really simplest, but no, Kirk ran a tremendous program. I mean, he was very grounded, humble and everything that he did. And I think he got all of his guys on board with that. And it's just, I don't know, you just work hard, put the time in, good things will happen.